Collusion was a word we heard a lot in 2017. Well, here's another story of alleged collusion. This time, though, the characters are rather different. Wikileaks has published an email apparently showing that the New York Times was providing the State Department and Hillary Clinton with advanced warnings about potentially damaging stories. Caleb Maupin picks up the story.
Now, a new email published by Wikileaks seems to show cooperation between New York Times reporter Scott Shane and the press secretary of Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. Now, we remember back in 2010 and 2011, there was Cablegate. All kinds of diplomatic cables were being released by Wikileaks. Well, according to this new email released by Wikileaks, it appears that Scott Shane of the New York Times was warning the State Department and actually gave them the schedule of when cables would be released. WikiLeaks speculates that this was done in order to help minimize the damage. WikiLeaks has accused Scott Shane of essentially betraying them.
This is nonsense. Check with the WikiLeaks volunteers who worked on this project. WikiLeaks agreed on the consultation with the State Department.
WikiLeaks agreed to pose questions to the US government 48 hours prior to publication. The New York Times pushed for 4 days. WikiLeaks objected. The email shows the New York Times betraying the entire day-by-day thematic publication plan to Secretary Clinton's spokesman, P.J. Crowley, not asking questions.
Now, media outlets are already using the word collusion to describe the cooperation between the U.S. State Department and this New York Times journalist. If one looks over the words and the reporting done by Scott Shane, in November, 4 out of 10 of his articles were about the issue of allegations of Trump-Russia collusion. However, there seems to be quite a record of collusion here between Hillary Clinton and the press. If one looks over the fact that Glenn Thrush, a reporter for Politico, who was actually sending his articles to the Clinton campaign for approval before they were published, has been hired by the New York Times. So there seems to be quite a bit of collusion going on between Hillary Clinton and the press.
There's ample evidence of that, extensive evidence in the WikiLeaks Podesta emails of the talking back and forth, the friendly journalist list that's referred to. Now it's virtually, I think, impossible to control it because you've got so many elements. You've got a Trump administration seated now with Trump people in most of the key jobs. You've got now, I think, a newly energized, maybe not mainstream press, but independent journalist press going at this, digging deeply, not accepting the supposed facts that have been sold in the past, and the conflicts are obvious.